Hello, my name is Caroline. Welcome to my channel. I'm a law student and I make YouTube videos every week. So today's video is going to be a Q&A of the questions that I get asked the most on my videos. If you have any further questions, please leave a comment, please leave a like, please subscribe if you're new. But yeah, so I am wearing a very comfortable, giant, like blanket hoodie kind of thing. So today is just going to be a very kind of cozy Q&A, very informal. I've got my bubble tea. We might spill some tea, we might not, who knows. Okay, so let's get some kind of rapid fire questions straight off the bat. My name's Caroline. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I am 21 years old. I turned 22 in December. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a first year at the University of Michigan Law School. I went to the University of Toronto for my undergrad, and I studied international relations, criminology, history, and political science. So those are the questions that I get asked the most often. The next question that I get asked a lot, so much, is why, as a Canadian, I chose to come to a US law school, as well as what that whole process was like. Okay, so first of all, applying to US law schools as a Canadian is the exact same thing as like applying to US law schools as an American. It's also quite similar to applying to Canadian law schools as a Canadian, in that you do all your applications on this one platform, which is LSAC instead of OSAS in Canada. And there are tiny differences, so the personal statements are a little bit different. You can get more recommendations. The deadlines to apply to law school in the US are much later than they are in Canada. In Canada, all your apps have to be in by November 1st. In the US, the deadline isn't until like February, but I still got all my apps in November because I wanted to get them looked at faster. So yeah, so the process itself is not that different. And yes, technically we are international students in terms of the US, but my understanding was they kind of considered us and our grades similar to how they consider American students. I don't think there's a huge difference there. I am in no way like qualified, other than I am a law student in the US and I'm Canadian. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, so the actual application process was pretty much the same as applying to law school in Canada. Why did I choose to come here as a Canadian? So 3 main reasons, and they are money, money, and money. No, I'm kidding. Okay, money is just one of the reasons. The earning potential of coming out of a top law school in the US is completely different. It's on a completely different level than the earning potential of coming out of a law school in Canada. So I went over this a little bit in my kind of, which law school did I pick video? But if I stayed in Canada, I would have gone to the University of Toronto Law School. And after I graduated, after I did my 3 years of law school, like I would have done here, and I went into Big Law, which is kind of the higher earning jobs are at, the median salary coming out of law school would have been $90,000, 90,000 Canadian. Similarly, if I had gone to law school in the US, which I am doing now, after I graduate 3 years and I go into Big Law, that's obviously assuming I get a job in Big Law. But if you're coming out of a top school, you probably will get a job in Big Law. The median salary that I started off with that first year after law school is $190,000. That's, first of all, more than twice what the Canadian salary is, and also in US dollars, you know? So just the earning potential difference is crazy. The opportunities that the University of Michigan provides career-wise are just completely different than what the University of Toronto could have provided me. On that note, the second reason is University of Michigan's kind of international reputation, international prestige, as well as the international opportunities that it provides, as well as the potential network, I thought was a little bit stronger than University of Toronto's. It is hard to compare, but just I think by virtue of being in the top 14, it carries a certain kind of impact that the University of Toronto didn't. And finally, my third reason is I have been in Toronto almost all my life. I grew up there, I did undergrad there. If I did law school there, I would probably also practice there. And I really just did not want to stay in the same place for my entire life. Like, I love Toronto, right? But I'm more than happy to go back. Well, I am going back for winter break, but I didn't want to spend my whole life in one place. I wanted to see the world, I wanted to explore. And so Michigan kind of sets me up better to do that. So those are my 3 reasons for why I, as a Canadian, chose to come to a US law school. There are obviously a lot of considerations against, you know, coming to the US law school as a Canadian, all of which I went over in my law school decision video, where I kind of broke it down, my factors in choosing a law school, so you should check that out. But essentially, that's why I chose to come to Michigan as a Canadian. Also, Michigan is not that far from Canada, so I'm like Canada adjacent still. The second question is kind of more of a rapid fire question. what is the age range of my 1L class. So they actually sent us an email that says this: the age range of my 1L class is 20 to 37 years old. And the mean age, so the average age, is 25 years old. So that segues into the next question. Did you take any time off before law school, and would you recommend doing that? So I clearly did not do that. I'm a KJD, I came straight through. But as you can tell from the age ranges, the majority of people do not come straight through. You know, the average age is 25. That means these people have taken 2 to 3 years off, and there are people here in their 30s. And so I definitely took maybe the less traveled path. I don't think there's a right answer here. I think it depends on where you are in your life and what you want to do. If you know you want to do law school, then, you know, there's no reason for you to take 2 years off if you know that you're going to do law school. If you're not sure you want to do law school, then go ahead, take that time off. There is really kind of no right thing to do. I will say that as someone who did come straight through, I do feel a little bit of kind of added pressure because I don't have that work or life experience that some people here might have. And so I do feel kind of a little bit behind the ball, but it's not like a huge barrier because law school kind of is the even playing ground. So once you get to law school, you kind of start at the same level as everyone else. So it does balance it out a little bit. But yes. And also someone asked if there are parents in my first year class. There are. Some people here are parents. I think I know some people have like a newborn, so I have no clue how they're doing in law school and raising children. I can barely raise myself right now. What kind of law am I interested in, and what kind of goals do I want to accomplish as a lawyer? So I know I joke about wanting to make money, but my fundamental reason for coming to law school and what I eventually want to do is I want to help people. I really want to pursue international law. I know there are going to be people who are like, oh, international law is not real. And even if that is the case, I want to be able to do things that, you know, help make it real. You know, I want to help the little guy. I want to hold countries, I want to hold companies accountable for their actions. I want to contribute to this still developing world of international law so that maybe my kids or lawyers 50 years from now aren't still wondering like, oh, you know, is international law real? I want to help people. I, you know, eventually want to do public international human rights law. But right out of law school, I have student loans to pay off. I have a life to live. I want to make money. I want to go to big law right away. Hopefully still something international related. So like international transactions, international arbitration, something like that. So I can build the network and the experience that, you know, would benefit me when I want to transition to a more public interest career. And someone asked me kind of what I'm majoring in law school. Law school doesn't really work like that. So how classes in law school work are in first year, you take like 6 mandatory classes. So all 1Ls across the country, and also in Canada, because I've been talking to my friends in Canada in law school, we all take the same first year classes. So those are con law, criminal law, civil procedure, torts and contracts, and legal practice. Everyone has like a legal practice class, which is like legal research, how to do legal writing. Michigan is a little bit different because Michigan does not require first years to take property, but at most other law schools, first years have to take property. So your first year is basically decided for you what courses you're going to take. And then your second and third year are just completely free reign. So you can choose whatever courses you want to do. So you can obviously choose to specialize in one area if you want, but even if you did choose to do that, you wouldn't be like majoring in that area. You would just be choosing courses on your own. So there are no majors. I want to take a breadth of courses. So I know I'm interested in international law and international arbitration, international transactions, but I don't want to just take courses like that, because what if I end up hating it? I want to have, you know, kind of a wide variety of background courses and just knowledge, because I'm here to learn. Is that cheesy to say? How did my first code calls go? That's the next question. Okay, so actually my first code calls were on the very first day of class I had here. So literally the first law school class ever. I'm in my room, it's a Monday, I'm doing it on Zoom, and literally my name is called, like the first code call of the day of the class. And honestly, it was terrifying. So I did do the readings, so it's not like I was going in blind, but I like had no idea what kind of questions he was asking. And the prof asked me the first question, got it right, asked me the second question, got it right. It was just about a case. And then he asked me what a promise was, and I was like I don't have the definition of a promise memorized. Am I supposed to have the definition of a promise memorized? And he was like, well, it's in the book. And so I kind of wanted to die, but honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal because I got all my other questions right. And then as soon as he said it was in the book, like, I found the place in the book it was and gave the definition of a promise. And I'm never going to have to ever again recite the definition of a promise. So it's not that big of a deal. Anyways, before I recovered from that code call, in my second class of the day, I got code called again. And it was a little bit weird because I was quarantining at the time, so the second class of the day was an in-person class, but I had to do it remotely because I was quarantining. And so I was zooming in to this in-person class, and so my face was on this giant screen in front of all the people who were in the actual in-person class, and so they all just watched me fumble my way through code calls. But yeah, so those were my first 2 code calls. Fortunately, I did the readings, so I was able to get the questions. Generally, what are code calls like? Honestly, I feel like code calls are this like urban myth that they use to scare you before you start law school, and then you get here and they're like, first of all, they're not that bad. The profs are generally very understanding. If you kind of don't really get the answer they're looking for, or even if you just say, oh, I didn't get the chance to do the readings, they're super understanding of you. And also, something you realize is that code calls really don't matter. Your grades in law school are based completely on your exam. So, and the exams are graded kind of blindly, so the prof doesn't even know who in class spoke and who wrote the exam. And so all code calls do is basically hold you accountable. It kind of makes sure that you do your readings, but they have really no value to your final mark. And so once you kind of ingrain that, and they're like, okay, it's okay to mess up on these, and it's okay to not be perfect all the time, they become much less scary. I say that, and my heart still pounds every time I'm in class and the prof is about to code call someone, so I clearly have not ingrained that into me yet. But theoretically, they're not that bad. Tips for concentrating on work and being productive. Okay, well, if I'm being honest, the only thing that makes me concentrate on work and be productive is the impending terror of exams. But I really wish I had kind of a secret here. All I do is read all the time because I'm scared of code calls, so I make myself read. I really have no secrets. Something I found is helpful is I can't do study groups where we're all sitting together and then talking, because I can get no studying done. But if you can find 1 or 2 or 3 people where you can all sit together and read quietly, I found that helps my productivity a lot, because seeing my friends really studious and sitting there and studying makes me be like, okay, I should not be on my phone, I should not be on Netflix, I should also be reading. So if you can get friends who will just sit quietly with you and study, that's great. You should do that. That'll help your productivity. Oh, I do have a tip for concentrating on work. Something I've been doing is I've been leaving my phone in my room and then going to a study, either going to the library or to a common room to study, and that way I don't get distracted by my phone, which is in my room, because I don't have it. So I found that really helps. I have a friend here who locks his phone in a safe when he studies. Also works. Yeah, but honestly, what keeps me productive is just fear. I'm really not that productive. I just spend a lot of time working. So, next question. What equipment/software do I use to make my videos? Okay, so I have a confession to make. I am a fraud and I film everything on my iPhone, which is why the audio and the lighting can be kind of off sometimes, because my only device is my phone. And for the first 3 or 4 videos, I did not have a tripod that stood. I had a tripod that would clip to the back of my chair, and so I would clip my phone to the back of the chair, wait for it to stop bouncing, and then film my videos. I have since graduated to a tripod that's this tall that I put on my desk to film these kind of sit-down videos. It was $20 from Amazon. And when I'm filming outside, I'm literally just holding my phone in front of me and filming. There's really no secret to it. I do want to invest in a proper mic because I want to boost the audio of my videos a little bit. But as of now, literally my only filming device is my phone. And as far as what I use to edit my videos, I used to use iMovie. I have since transitioned to using Premiere. Both of them are a headache. Alright, so those are all the questions that I wrote down. If you guys have any other questions, you can please leave them in the comments and I will answer them. Thanks so much for watching my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I post law school videos every week, and I have a vlog coming out next week. Thanks for watching.